catch the magic wand. Okay, Jen, I want to see the magic wand. Oh, that is excellent. I was really hoping you would bring a crown or a wand. So I think my inner manifestorial little girl is delighted right now. You heard the psychic call and honored my inner craving for magic. Oh, that's so wonderful. Well, I think that we will go ahead and get started and start recording, and we will just let people either hop on when they come or listen to the recording. I have gone ahead and hit record. I want to welcome you to the January Mystic Society Salon, Jen. I'm so happy to be sitting across for you for the first time.
Yay, me too. I love you and the community who you've gathered, so I'm excited.
Thank you. I adore you too. And for those who may not have caught it, I got to chat with Jen as part of her Manifesting with the Masters series, which is incredible. And so as we were pulling together the guest experts for the Mystic Society this year, usually we have a list that my partner and I look at, and it was like there was no competition in the field. There was one person that we wanted to talk to about manifestation, and that was you. And so I feel so grateful for you joining us today.
Thank you. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. So would you be open to just doing a little bit of an intro and telling us about who you are, Jen, and how you came to be doing the work that you're doing in the world?
Sure.
That would be great.
Yeah, so I'm known as the Queen of Manifestation, and my friends actually gave me that nickname years ago. I was at a women's gathering, and one of my friends was introducing me to everyone else and said, "This is Jen. She's the Queen of Manifestation." And I thought, oh my gosh, that is so perfect. And I just owned it because among my group of friends, always have these amazing, outrageous stories every time we get together, the next thing that I manifested, and they're always like, how did you do that? And that really led into the work that I do now. That was the beginning. So I started leading workshops and doing visualizations, and then I launched my online program, Manifestation Masters, and that was the beginning of my life as the Queen of Manifestation. So a little bit more about me. I have always really been able to dream outrageous dreams. And I think for all of you who are interested, obviously it's the new year, it's 2016, in manifesting amazing things in your life. It starts with your belief in your vision and allowing yourself to dream bigger than you've allowed yourself to dream before. So for me, I allow myself to think outrageous things are possible. And I expect them to happen. And so I take the action in alignment with those visions, and they do happen because I have the belief and the expectation. So it starts with the desire, belief, expectation. So some of the beautiful things that I've been able to manifest have been, I had lived rent-free in Manhattan for over 10 years in an apartment with a jacuzzi. And it was my choice to give it up. I sold that place when I was pregnant. And I traveled all over the world, to Africa, to India, Brazil, Europe, Bali. And I had my artwork shown in the New York Times and New York Magazine. I've hung out with some of my favorite mentors like Deepak Chopra and Whoopi Goldberg backstage at the UN, was invited to a private cocktail party with Martin Scorsese. I could go on and on. I paid off over $38,000 of debt in less than a year when I came to terms with my debt. So that was something major, which might be inspirational for some of you listening too. Really understanding and looking at your finances and setting goals, but really getting clear on where you're at, what you need, and then you can actually envision what's possible for you if you're in the know. Yeah. And I gave birth to my daughter at home. I have a 4-year-old girl. So I'm sure I'm forgetting things. I'm building a green school in Nigeria with my partner.
Wonderful.
Big bet project. But that's just a little bit. I'm sure you'll ask me other questions as we go.
Yeah, I appreciate it so much. You are truly an example of someone aligned to their soul purpose and path. And just this morning, we were having a call in the Mystic Society around right livelihood and all that goes along with that. And so it's no mistake, I'm sure, that the universe has you here as our guest talking manifestation so clearly in your gift, so clearly living it, and now bringing it forward for others. Two of the things we talked about in that call is so funny, were how often, for those of us who haven't found our way to our soul purpose and path yet, how it can come through a girlfriend because they see in us what we're doing all of the time. And that other thing that you also described is it literally was the thing that you did all the time, that you do effortlessly, and that's a part of who you are. So, I just want to call that out for those who are with us or who are watching later, that there's a neat little meta process going on here. Not only are we talking manifestation, but what a living light of right livelihood we have with us right now. So on the topic of desire, belief, and expectation, I think people often think that the belief and expectation are the tricky steps. And yet I find that a lot of women really struggle with the first one and getting clear on what they actually desire and then granting themselves permission to even have those desires. Is that your experience as well?
Yeah, it totally is. Yeah. It is. That's like step number one. And I think also really the truth is, we're the only ones stopping ourselves from living our best lives. And if we can own it and take responsibility instead of blaming whatever circumstances we're in, and I have to catch myself too. I'm human, just like everyone else, right? So I was just telling Lindsay before we got on the phone today, it's Mercury retrograde. I dropped my cell phone and my iPhone, and I cracked it today. And I was like, oh my goodness, but it's okay. I did it and it's fine. I dropped my phone, and I was out of alignment, and I was rushing, and, that's what happened. And I'm not blaming myself, but I'm taking responsibility. Sure. So it's like, one thing is take responsibility for where you're at, because you may not be totally satisfied with all the things around you in your life. You want more, whatever, freedom or a better home or a better relationship, more money. But the things that are around you that you've been able to manifest are a result of what you've allowed yourself to believe is possible for you up until this moment. And right now on this call is a beautiful time to allow yourself to dream even bigger. And if you can allow that thought to come in, then you're starting to set things into motion. And I always talk about this in my work, that the only constant is change. Yeah. And that natural state of the universe. And change means letting go of what we're comfortable with, because you may not be satisfied with what you have, but you're comfortable with it. It's what you've allowed to believe is possible. So it might feel uncomfortable to start to allow in new thoughts, new possibilities. It's scary. The unknown is scary, right? But it's bringing you to a whole new level. And so it's accepting and moving into that area of discomfort to allow in something better than what you're experiencing right now. And when I work with clients privately or through my programs, and I'm sure you experience this too, the very first step is to start with the vision and take it up. Like I take it up 10 degrees higher than what you're currently thinking is the big thing. So when people come to me like, oh, I want to put on a telesummit, or I want to, make 6 figures, or whatever it is, we'll take that dream and move it up. Like, okay, so then, let's experience it. Let's imagine that you are doing that. Just like you said, your girlfriends see that for you. Let's actually start to really feel into what is that going to feel like to do that. And then what happens? And then what happens? And then what happens? And then you're like, ooh, I never thought about this, because your mind just stopped at that thing that seemed like the hardest thing. But when you can allow yourself to go bigger, and this it goes against what a lot of people say to do, but I've seen it work over and over again. Yep. You go bigger, then you're like, wow, okay, I'm writing this book, and then I'm on Oprah, and then I form this, foundation, and we're doing this, and I have chills just even saying this. Oh my gosh, yes. Then you're excited even more so to take the action necessary to do that thing that felt really hard. And that thing that felt hard feels easier. Even just now, I'm like, oh, that's nothing. Oh my God, I can totally do that, because I know I'm going here. I know this is where I'm destined to be. So it's going to be so easy to take action now on that thing that felt so hard. And if you and the Mystic Society can all be those believing eyes for each other as you share your visions, and starting out in 2016, you're going to just experience so much more success, because you're going to be like, yeah, totally, you're doing this. We're all collaborating in this other space and believing that it's possible.
I love that. So you're leading into the belief piece so well, and how that reflection from others helps us lean into the belief, and also how creating the bigger vision actually creates the spaciousness around you to lean into going in the direction of your desires. What are other tips for people who are struggling with that belief piece? I mean, even in the Mystic Society, where we're pretty new paradigm, I still come across a lot of inner gremlins and clients and women around, do I even believe in manifestation? Do I even allow myself to believe that it's possible to believe? How do you help women move through that piece of the belief equation?
Well, many different things. I love that you bring that up. For me, manifestation is science. And I know Mystic Society, we're in this, other world of, spirit world. And obviously we're all here because we've all experienced things like that. So
yep,
it's a science, just like the law of gravity.
Yep.
It's the law of gravity. Like, we don't understand how it works, but it is a law, a physical law. Like, you drop something, it will fall to the ground, right? There's a pull there. So these spiritual laws are laws, right? The law of attraction, the law of reciprocity. Like, there's a million different laws in the universe. Yes. So even if you don't believe it, I say try it, and then you'll see. Like, put it into practice and test it out, right? And the best way to do that is smaller things. Oops, now I can hear myself. I don't know what just happened.
I'm unmuted. Is that better?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, we got a little feedback, but we got it taken care
of. Cool. So yeah, it's smaller things, right? So start with little things that you can manifest. So yeah, first step is take that dream up to a whole new huge level, and then break it down into smaller action steps so it doesn't feel overwhelming. Because a lot of people say, well, I'm overwhelmed. Yeah, I have this huge vision, but I have no idea how that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so what can you do today that's going to move that dream forward? And you can, again, set small little things. I mean, there's great books like E Squared by Pam Grout that have little tests that you can do to test the law of attraction. And then you start to really believe in it and see how your thoughts really are shaping what's happening in your life. So that's a great book I recommend. The other thing is I call it getting down with PPP. So there's that song where I grew up, get down with PPP.
Yep.
So I was like, all right, get down with PPP, which is positive proof from your past. We are all powerful manifestors. So there are things in your life that you totally manifested. So when you get scared or you don't believe something's possible, write out a list of all the things you did manifest before. And, for moms in the group, it could just be having a kid, and that whole process of a baby growing inside you and giving birth, no matter what your birth story is or labor story, you created a human being, so just that's number one for moms, huge example. And, other things that you've been able to manifest, whether it was a new job or a relationship or a trip or, anything small. It could just be, I don't know, a free gift certificate or something. So things that you've been able to manifest, because then you start to realize, oh, right, I've done this before. And you can also trace back steps. Well, how did I do that? What did I believe? And start to, feel good about yourself that you are a powerful manifestor, and you can continue those steps in the bigger thing that you're working on or wanting to manifest now.
I love that. And I love how you keep weaving in the awareness pieces and looking at what has worked in the past and looking at your own. I find people's manifestation blueprint is very personalized to them. It's almost like a thumbprint. Some people have really quick iterative manifestation cycles and some people have really longer. I find myself on kind of a 6-month manifestation cycle if I'm kind of clearly holding the vision. Do you find that as well, that awareness practice brings people closer to understanding their own manifestation type or profile?
Yes, I do. I think it helps to be aware because you're aware of your own patterns, and then when you fall back into things, you can, come back into alignment. I just saw
a question from Pera. Yes. For you. What if you're such a believer that you get stuck in a story about I caused this? So believing is not the challenge. How do you not get strivey, or down on yourself if crappy stuff happens? So if we're manifesting all the time, if this is science and what's happening is not in alignment with what you want, how do you not then go into the space of I caused this?
Yeah.
Great question, Pera.
Yeah. So a couple things. When something happens in the moment that is really effing shitty, it's pivoting that gets you back into a place of alignment. And pivoting is basically what's good. And the best thing to do is, it could be a really horrible situation. Like my phone dropping was pretty shitty, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world. You know, I mean, it was bad. And at the moment it seemed like the worst thing in the world. Right. But if we can say, okay, well, what is still good? Okay. So then you find the good, or what, the practice of gratitude is really great for this because it brings you back into alignment, and it doesn't have to be, gratitude in the moment is wonderful, especially for going through something bad. Like, okay, well, what am I grateful for? And you start to see behind every obstacle is an opportunity. And it really, I mean, it's a saying, but it's so true that whatever struggle you're going through, there is a lesson in it. And that lesson could be, it's a gift. It's a gift that's taking you to a new place that you wouldn't have gotten to had that obstacle not shown up in the first place. So if we can look at, okay, why did this happen? It's not my fault, right? We're taking ownership of it, but we're saying the ownership is in, what's the lesson here? So I've been freaking out because I think that I don't have enough time in the day and I've got to do it all myself because my partner's away. This is me, right? I dropped my phone. I'm sharing, like, here's my cracked phone. So I think you can see my video. So, so I taking ownership, like, I'm out of alignment. So what can I do to bring myself back into alignment? All right, well, I'm going to go home. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to relax. I'm going to pay for a cab. I live in New York City. I'm just going to relax. Like, I don't need to rush around and get everything done that I think I need to get done because everything is working out the way it's supposed to anyway. And it's not up to me sending a million emails or, blah, blah, blah. It's like relaxing into it. And that's that expectation piece of, which is this balance of ease and alignment, because manifesting does not have to be difficult, for real. If you're in alignment, you're vibrating at the right frequency that sends out a message, so you're attracting things to you that are the same frequency. And actually, when you are out of alignment, you repel the things that you want because you're trying too hard, and that trying too hard means that you don't believe it and you don't expect it. And if I catch myself trying too hard, I realize I'm out of alignment because I don't have faith in myself. So what's the lesson in the opportunity when there is something that you're feeling stuck or something crappy is happening? So it's, again, like, what, you ask yourself, you can ask your higher self, you can do a meditation. What's the lesson here? What do I need to know right now? Just that. What do I need to know right now? And it could be you hear a message, like, what should I do to bring myself back into alignment, or what's the greater lesson? What can I recommit to right now, which is going to help. But basic pivoting in terms of law of attraction pivoting is just finding the good in whatever situation is. It might not even relate to the thing that you're working on. It could just be like, if you have a day job and you hate your work, it could be something like, well, I get to have my own office space, or I get to put up this really beautiful picture of my daughter at work, or I get to have a drive to work where I listen to my favorite music and I sing out loud. And that's like 15 minutes of alone time that I fucking love and I look forward to every single day. I get to work with this awesome woman who is my favorite person at work, and she dresses fabulously, and I always love her outfits and they inspire me. It does not have to do with anything that you're actually manifesting. So you think about your life as like a triangle. If we shift one area, the whole entire triangle, I'm doing a bad representation of this, but it totally moves, right? Like, everything is connected. And so getting into alignment is like thinking about your life as everything is connected. So I may be working on manifesting a house, but I don't need to necessarily do all the house stuff right now. What I need to do is make sure that I'm in a place of joy and alignment. So if I go to yoga class, or I have a dance party, or, whatever it is, then I'm helping manifest that house because I'm staying in alignment. And, things that have happened that are amazing, outrageous stories of synchronicity that I could tell you over and over again, it's because I'm just happy. And then I've attracted people who are also happy. I mean, I'm just thinking of this one story that's popping into my head right now. I don't know why. But one time I went to this concert at Carnegie Hall to see one of my favorite musicians, Hugh Masekela. He's a very famous South African jazz musician, if you're into that kind of music. So I went to this performance. It was amazing. I rode my bike there, and I left, and I was just very inspired. And I'm riding my bike. I must have stayed to talk to some people I knew there at the end in the audience. And I left, so it was kind of late. And I'm riding, past Carnegie Hall, and I see some of the musicians from the band, and I recognize them, and I go ding, ding, ding on my bike belt, like, hi, like, great show. because that's me. And they were like, stop, come over here, and they invited me to dinner. And I ended up at this private dinner with Hugh Masekela and his son, all these people. And like, I've been to South Africa. I'm like huge. I mean, he was a big anti-apartheid activist. And just, I was like, I can't believe I'm at dinner with him. And it all happened because I was just happy. I was not trying to hang out with these people. I was just like, thanks, on my way home. And that's what happened. And things like that have happened over and over again. I mean, I've hung out with Michael Beckwith, and Ricky Byers-Beckwith of the Agape Center, like all these people. I'm just like, all I'm doing is being myself and showing up. But because they recognize that my spirit is in alignment with their spirit, then, there's stuff that we can work on and collaborate with and in the world together. And so I just think it's so important that we stay in that place of joy. And, really, like, if things are shitty, then what's good? How can I bring myself into that place of feeling good right now? That was a long answer.
So great. I love it. And April has a question too, but before I read it, I just want to say I have never thought of it that way, especially in the context of your desire, belief, expectation model, how ease and alignment and happiness and joy are gestures to the universe of that expectation and trust. And I'd never thought of how striving actually demonstrates our resistance to that belief, or that, I mean, that's really huge, Jen.
Yeah. I'm experiencing it right now, like I shared today with my dropping my phone. I mean, it's a Mercury retrograde thing too, but it's my own lessons, right? As we all, move into this world and whatever we're working on. I love that. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that's huge. Okay, so April's question is, I tend to manifest, and I can relate to this one, April. I tend to manifest illness when I'm just about to make major progress in my life. It's as if my ego realizes I want to crash through my upper limit and tries to pull me back. I also manifest illness if I'm not honoring what I really want to be doing, which is interesting. What do you have to say about that, Jen?
Yeah, that is huge. I've experienced it as well. Number one, I just wanted to share that at this time, and Lindsay might be talking about this too, the very beginning of this year, astrologically, what's happening, the universe wants us to take care of ourselves, especially right now. So if we've been out of alignment, working, like I've just been sharing, stressing too much, illness comes to show us like we need to prioritize ourselves and self-care. And so, that's just number one in terms of illness in general. It's a beautiful thing that we take care of ourselves better, because we probably have been pushing ourselves, too hard in different areas. I got sick literally the day after New Year's. Like I went out for New Year's. I'm not a crazy partier. And I woke up and I was sick. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I got a sinus cold, but it was beautiful because for me, it was okay. Well, I'm supposed to start this year off in bed, like taking care of myself. And literally I slept for the first 2 days of the year. Which I thought was, actually, again, it's a reframe. Like, how can we reframe things, which also helps you manifest, is staying positive about the things that are happening. But if you tend to manifest illness as you're, upgrading and upper limiting, it's really it's part of that uncomfortableness, that ease and alignment of getting yourself, like, into being okay in that new place. Like, you're adjusting on a physical level also, as well as a emotional level, to the new things that you're creating and manifesting in your life. So how can you maintain that higher frequency so that you don't crash back down into what's comfortable? I led a mastermind trip to Bali in November for a bunch of women, and it was amazing. And it was my birthday while we were there, and my partner and our daughter were there, and I got a book deal while we were there. I found out I was interviewing Gay Hendricks for my telesummit. It was like the best week of my entire life. I mean, obviously there's amazing, but for me, it was huge. And I got back and I upper limited. I literally hit my head into my daughter's wall. For real. I was picking up something and I banged my head on the wall, and I went to the ER. So this does not just happen, it happens to all of us in April. And it's okay. Relax. Again, it's that whole thing of how can I allow for more ease and greatness into my life? So it's basically just telling yourself, I'm open to even more abundance, ease, and you can recite a mantra like that, which is so beautiful. being open to staying in that place of, and then again, that practice of gratitude, like feeling grateful and telling the universe, like, I'm ready. I'm ready, and I'm open to receive even more abundance, even more, you know, whatever it is that you're looking for. Because if we find that you're, you know, again, attracting illness or whatever, it's two things. It's needing to take more time for yourself, that self-care, especially in illness. And also, it's really, again, things are shifting in your body, like on a physical level. Your cells are not the same from day to day. Your skin, you know, I don't know the science, but let's say from a month from now, it's going to be totally new, right? So everything is always shifting. So the illness is also, you can look at it from a good way, a good perspective of you purging the things that don't serve you anymore because you're moving up to this new level, right? So just about like letting go of limiting beliefs, you're letting go of physical things. And part of it is that limiting belief. So when you get sick, as you're up leveling, you can also ask yourself, like, what is it that I need to let go of? Like, what is no longer serving me? And then you can look at your illness literally as a beautiful metaphor. Like, as you're blowing your nose, you're just like, okay, gunk, you know, all this stuff. Get out. Like, you know, I'm clearing myself. I went to India for yoga teacher training in 2008, and I stayed at an ashram for a month, and we, you know, did all of these alternate nostril breathing, like every single day, twice a day. And I wasn't sick, but I had mucus like the entire time that I was there, but I wasn't sick. And the way that I look at it is like, I was letting go of all this shit. Like you know, in my spiritual practice that needed to be let go of. And I really think that happens to us, like truly, you know, as we're up leveling. So it's not a bad thing that you're manifesting illness. It's how can we view it in a good way? You can literally journal about what you're letting go of. You can do a meditation to, you know, release things, or if you're lying in bed, you can kind of visualize the stuff that you don't want leaving your body. And again, ask yourself, how can I get more, you know, back into alignment, and tell yourself that mantra of I'm open to receiving even more abundance, blah, 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 in my life right now.
That's the hit I got too. Everything you said resonates so much, but this idea of going bigger when that happens instead of contracting away, like maybe this manifesting big things and therefore calling it illness is actually asking you to expand what you really desire to be a little bit bigger, give yourself a little bit more room, and then that just creates a spaciousness to lean into it and trust in a way that maybe we don't manifest those patterns and self-limiting habits. I know Candace is mirroring this as well, saying she had her year start off the same way. Yeah, and needed to spend some time and honored it. So you honored it, Candace. Thanks for bringing that forward. And then, yes, April says she's ready to receive more abundance. Yeah, her new daily mantra.
Woo-hoo.
So I do want to ask you about the incredible seat that you are in, having interviewed so many people on this topic. What have you found most surprising and interesting in terms of the different way that influencers and leaders in their field think about abundance? Manifestation.
That's a really good question, Lindsay. So what's been the most surprising thing about it, or like one of the things that's impacted me?
I know I was amazed in listening to your calls from that series that like you said, it's a science. We all know and trust that it's happening, and yet the vocabularies were so different, and the experiences of people describing it, they were different. There were different lenses with each interview that you did, and each was so powerful in its way. How is that for you as the person sitting on the other side, hearing or catching the stories of all these different lenses on manifestation?
I just think like you, it's very inspiring. And there's no right or wrong way. And that is a good lesson too. I think a lot of people come to me and they're like, you know, am I doing affirmations right? Or, you know, vision boarding or whatever it is that they're doing. There is absolutely no right or wrong way. And I think that we get really caught up in self-criticism or self-doubt, which, you know, is part of that. And, you know, obviously, if you don't have the belief or expectation, it's not going to happen. And so if we're constantly doubting ourselves, like we're doing something wrong, or, you know, oh, God, I didn't meditate today, so I'm going to have a fucking horrible day. Or, you know, it's like that spiraling. There's no wrong. I think when we get to be so extreme, and that goes with, you know, my whole view on life. Like, I was hardcore vegan for 8 years. I'm not anymore. And God bless you if you're vegan. But I think that being extreme is just, it leads to that self-criticism thing of, you know, doing something wrong. And so it's like, okay, you know, I'm going to do everything that I can to be in alignment and feel good, today. And I don't do every single thing that I teach every single day, and that's okay. And you still have amazing results and experiences. And so it's like, okay, there, whatever feels good for you, do that. So if it feels good, like to write affirmations or make a mind movie, which I teach, and I'm all about, vision movies, even more so than vision boards, by the way, if you guys are interested in that stuff. Things like that, do that if that feels good. Or, I recorded myself saying my affirmations and I listen to them in my headphones when I ride my bike. But I don't listen to them all the time, at home, it's just like a transit thing, so again, it's like, what feels good for you? You can set reminders on your phone with affirmations and images, or they go off at certain times of the day, or, again, no right or wrong way. One teacher, I love, Peggy McCall, who I used to follow for a long time, she shared with me, which has totally influenced me, that not just a gratitude journal, but she writes gratitude for future things that haven't happened yet, as if they've already happened. And she does that regularly. And I was like, oh, and I've been teaching that now. I didn't do that before, right? That, you take from different people. I love Jack Canfield, and I haven't interviewed him for my summit, but I spent time with him for a few days at a conference and got to talk to him about, different things. And, he was just on Oprah talking about the success principles. And Jack Canfield, he has so many practices every single day, in terms of at the end of the night, he asks himself, well, how could I do better today?
Beautiful.
How could I have done better? Which I thought is so beautiful, because it's not looking bad, looking back in a bad way, but it's not what went wrong, but, oh, okay, I can do this better. So then when you go to sleep, you start really envisioning, what does that look like to be better, the next day, and how that will go. And, just so many different things. Again, you could go to bed, with a question for the universe and wake up with the answer, which I'm sure you could talk about, or, you stay in bed for a little bit longer in the morning to start to visualize how does your ideal day go. There are so many different things. And so, my takeaway is really the people who are doing great things in the world, it doesn't matter what they're doing, but they believe in themselves, and they surround themselves with other people who believe in them and who are doing big things in the world too. And they also want to make a difference. And I mean, that's huge. I don't think any of them who are really hugely successful are doing it for selfish reasons.
Right.
I think that it helps. I mean, it's not like you have to change the world with your dream, but if you want to make an impact in some way, or even if it's just to help your family, or, whatever it is, that give back component, because of the law of reciprocity, is, I think, really important, and also I think, especially as women, by the way, just talking about law of reciprocity, I think a lot of us have a hard time receiving. And I've noticed, this for myself too. If I'm upper limiting, I think part of it is really, for me, about receiving, which might sound crazy because I'm a female manifestation and all these amazing things happen in my life. But, I'm a mom, and I'm giving, and I take care of everyone in my life. And, so it's oh, right, I need to make sure that I'm being taken care of. And I think as women, we tend to do that too. We overgive in a way there's a difference between, giving and overgiving, and giving from a place of feeling like you're filled up, and giving in a way that also is setting boundaries. I think setting boundaries is a really beautiful thing. I'm mentioning this as well, because oftentimes we feel like we have to accept whatever comes our way, because, oh, this is showing up. If, financially you really need this client, and they've shown up, but that they're not a good fit. Intuitively, you're just oh, I don't think that she's going to be good, or, it's not going to work with her. And then you say yes, and you take on this client, and it ends up being not a good, fit. And they're upset with the work that you've done or whatever. It's always going with your intuition, and then set a boundary. So okay, tell the person this isn't a great fit. I would recommend so-and-so for you instead. Or you get a job offer, but it's not the job you want. Say no. There will be another job offer. You don't have to take whatever comes your way, because the universe is going to be happy that you set the boundary, because you're saying, I deserve something better. And this, and again, it starts with that getting clear on what you want. And so then if something shows up, it's a yes or a no. And it's not just, oh, I'll recognize it when it shows up. I don't know what I want, but I'll know it when I see it. that never happens. You're always going to be in that place of feeling unsatisfied and you're wondering why. It's because you haven't gotten clear on what the yes is, so that if it shows up, you know if it's a match or not a match, and then you can move forward from there. And I think boundary setting is so crucial for that as women. Like, don't just take whatever comes your way. You deserve the best, and you're going to get it. Again, it's that expectation piece. Like, don't worry, there's going to be another, whatever, again, like job offer, or, I have lots of examples of this with people who I've met. Even like, I used to do a lot of work with, art and film, and I met Stephen Marley, Bob Marley's son. The first time I met him, I wanted to give him my card because I wanted him to be in this project, and I didn't. And I was like, oh, why did I not do that? But I didn't even get upset about it, because I was like, I'm going to see him again. I know I'm going to see him again. And I not only did I see him again, it's been many times now, that we've hung out and seen each other, and he's taken the time to look over all my stuff, that I was working on the project for. It's just this inner knowing and trusting, like, things are going to work out. I know that, the best thing is happening for me. And if I set the boundary and I expect it, I'm not going to accept whatever comes my way. And that goes with this whole Mercury retrograde time until the 25th. It's not just, letting go of old beliefs, but really, like, what is it that you're tolerating in your life? What is it that doesn't serve you anymore? And let it go. And if it's, if it's not serving you, either do it, delegate it, drop it, or delay it. And that is from Jack Canfield. I'm not going to claim ownership of that, but it's really like a beautiful lesson. I've got my magic wand. I'm like, do it, delegate it, delay it. Yep. Because if you're just tolerating stuff, like clearing your clutter, for example, I think a lot of people clutter, not just physical clutter, emotional clutter. I just, like, before this phone call was on Facebook, and I have 1 million friend requests that I never respond to. Sorry if that's one of you guys. And I was like, oh my God, I need to go through all these friend requests and, like, accept them or deny them. Like, why am I just leaving them all in this inbox? Right? And so we all have things like that. Like, what is sitting there that needs to your attention, so you can just let it go. And then, I think that, again, that's part of boundary setting is, letting go of things that no longer serve you, and what are you tolerating, so that you can set a new standard of, well, I'm going to hire a house cleaner, or, whatever it is in your life, so that that's your new expectation. That's your, getting to your higher level now, because this is where you're going in your life. Right?
I love that. And I love that sometimes the challenge for women is in saying no or setting the boundary is that fear piece that it won't come around, or it won't come around in the way I want. And ultimately that comes from a place of fear or scarcity. And yet the thing that we're doing when we say yes to something that isn't aligned is we're actually creating the scarcity, because now our time, energy, or money is going towards something that wasn't aligned. So we actually drew ourselves into scarcity instead of the no, which creates the room and that vacuum for the universe to allow the right thing to flow in. And I hope everyone's really hearing this, but I just can't get over how important the desire, belief, expectation piece is, because each of these things that Jen is touching on become gestures to the universe of whether you're really on board with the desire, the belief, the expectation. So saying yes to the wrong thing really speaks to you don't have the belief or expectation that the right thing will come. So what an incredible litmus that is. And I love too, I want to underscore the gratitude for blessings already on their way. That's the way that I think of it, that thing of extending our gratitude out towards the things that are coming. And how that too, as you say it now, I realize is a gesture of trust, and it's a gesture of expectation and of belief. So it encompasses all three of those.
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful. Do you have a very favorite interview? Does one leap out in your mind as one that you really enjoyed, or?
Well, obviously Gay Hendricks is amazing. I've interviewed Sonia Choquette multiple times, and I love her. She's one of my favorite teachers, and, if you don't know who she is, get one of her books. Diary of a Psychic is actually beautiful, and it's not a how-to, but it's her story, and it's so inspiring to see how we are all so psychic. And I highly recommend that book, Diary of a Psychic.
All right.
So she stands out. Gosh, I mean, they're all so amazing. I mentioned Peggy McCall's. Literally, like, every single one has been really interesting. Rose Cole talked about feminine and masculine manifesting, which I thought was really interesting. Yeah, I mean, the thing that I wanted to mention too, while you were just talking about that whole, expectation piece and gratitude for, things, gifts already, on their way, is really thinking about your dreams in a way that they're there for you for a reason. You have these desires within you because they actually want to come through. And we didn't have those ideas, those sparks of inspiration, those big dreams, if they couldn't actually be manifest through you. Because, you're a part of this mystic society, so I know you guys get this, right? And like, we are so connected to the universe, and we're constantly receiving messages. If we can open to, actually hearing them, and then we take action in alignment with those messages, the universe is going to send us more messages, because they're going to be like, oh my God, she is listening. Yes, she's listening. I'm going to send her more messages because she's finally listening. And that's when you're like in the flow and everything is happening. And you're like, yeah, I love my life. You're listening. So thinking about, you are given these dreams. It's part of it is coming from the universe chose you. They thought you would be the perfect person to express this outwardly into the world. If you think about, my partner is a musician, right? And if you're interested in arts in general, you know this. I think a lot of us are artists if we're, psychic or spiritually intuitive, right? So it's like that place where you have that flow, where you're just, it feels like it's not even you, and you just, it's moving through you, right? Like, and I'm sure we've all felt that at different times. Or when you're speaking, Lindsay, doing one of these interviews, you're like, you just channel. It's just, this is what information is supposed to come through because of, these people need to hear it. And you're in that flow. And so our dreams it's the same thing. Like, it's your higher self, it's your spirit guides, it's the universe, whatever your belief is, but it wants to emerge through you. And we're all here in this beautiful lifetime together for a reason. Oh my God, there's a reason that you're drawn to Lindsay. There's a reason that I'm here, that we're all here together, because we all, we need to hear these messages. They're all things that we've known. And then another interview that I loved was Don Jose Ruiz, who wrote The Fifth Agreement, the Toltec, in the Four Agreements book his dad wrote, that whole Toltec message it's unlearning, really, that we need to do, because we all came and we were born into the world.
Yeah.
And we know it. I mean, and, again, I'm going back to being a mom. I see my daughter is so psychic, right? And like, she knows it. And she says things. I'm like, oh, I didn't mention this. She totally knows. And so if we can, unlearn some of these things, we can stay in that place of belief and expectation, because we know that we have the power to create anything. And if we can, stay there, oh my God, the world is going to shift to a new place. And, the other thing I was going to mention is that we're in these physical bodies for a reason. Our spirit chose to come in this lifetime for us to be here right now on the planet to witness all the stuff that's going on in the world in whatever, way that we're going to have an impact. So we're here to create on a physical level, on a physical plane. If we didn't want to create on a physical plane, we would stay in the spirit world, because it feels so fucking good there. The biggest high that you've ever felt in love, that's what it feels like in that place. And so if we can remember, that's who we naturally are. But I'm sure we, all of us have felt this at least at some point, totally in love, or totally like body chills, right? That is our natural state of being. That's where we should always be. That's where we come from. And so we're here on this physical plane to create. So why not create the best life we can possibly create and stay in that place of love vibration? Because then everything you want is going to come to you, right? And attracting other love beings, right? Like all of us. It's like, if you're in that place of love, then there could be no doubt, because that's all there is. It's like, of course, like, you're always fine. I mean, you're always fine. Even in the most horrible moment where you're freaking out about something, you're a spiritual being in this physical body. Like, you are totally taken care of. We have spirit guides all around us, always sending us messages. All these things that want to come through us want to come through us. So let's get out of our own way and get back to being like, I'm fucking amazing. And I can create anything because it wants to come through me. And I have things that are meant for this world. And the other thing is, the world exists on all different dimensions right now. So we have all these different lifetimes and knowledge from different lifetimes within us, you know, if you believe in past lives, which I do. Right. So it's, you know, we're here in this lifetime, but there's future lifetimes that are also happening, which is another interview that I love with Mira Kelly. Mira Kelly is a really well-known past life regressionist. She was Wayne Dyer's past life regressionist. And she talked to us about manifesting, and she mentioned how the future lives are also happening at the same time. So you can actually tap into inner wisdom from a future life, which means the things that we have ideas for right now that we want to manifest in this lifetime, we're partly intuiting what's already to come. It's not just you imagining and having to hustle to manifest it. If we can sit back and now say with ease, this is happening. Oh my God. I'm writing a book.
Yes.
I'm writing a book. I'm a best-selling author. Oh my God. Bills. Oh my gosh, why am I worried and freaking out? I'm a best-selling author. All right, so what do I want to do now? What's the next step? Okay, right? It's like I am intuiting. I'm co-creating. And the way that you get thrown off path is when you don't trust, you know, because there is free will, but that's what's to come. That's what you're intuiting. You're intuiting it. It wants to come through, and it is coming through. Let's get out of our way and feel good about what's coming through.
Oh. I could just listen to you talk all day. Yes, yes, and yes, and yes. I love that. I love that you brought it into the body too, because this is an area that I stress a lot and I see a lot of people struggling with is, I think once we get onto this journey where we realize the importance of vibration and joy and love, what I actually see is people spending less time in their body. But it's actually about bringing that into the body, about embodying those feelings and allowing ourselves to manifest from right here, not out at there. I mean, it's a dance for sure, but I see far more people struggling with actually doing it in form than I do accessing the vision. And so that somatic piece seems to me like a huge missing link for people. And you've used, words throughout our time here together about, body chills or giggles or just, happiness. I can feel you expressing how that feels like in your body. I think we can relate to those rushes of feeling around manifestation. What are other somatic or body experiences that are indicators of manifestation that maybe aren't those rushes, but are actually the feeling of manifesting kind of more on that everyday level?
Like clues that we're on the right track?
Yeah, the evidence from our body. Like you mentioned expansiveness. Like that's one that also isn't like just a rush of chills. Like you can tap into your body at any time and say, okay, is this making me feel expansive or contracted? Yeah. So I think the body is trying to give us clues. And I feel like that's what you're saying.
Yeah, totally. It is. It is. And there's different practices. Again, I'm sure you teach like about, what does it feel like when I feel like I'm in alignment or when it is a yes versus a no. But, I honestly, I wouldn't say that's like the most important. It's important. You should know what your yes and no is in terms of, intuition and listening to your body and your inner voices. Totally hugely important. I think even more important is just having time to get quiet with yourself in meditation. Because then you're open to receiving messages from the universe. You're also resetting yourself. So if you get caught up in the day and you're feeling like, stressed out, like, okay, I just need a moment to sit with myself, because then you feel like, everything is okay. You tap into the universe, you feel connected, and you kind of let go of things, even if it's just for a few minutes. And if you're new to seated meditation, like it could just be going for a walk or doing yoga, or going to like a 5 rhythm stance class or whatever, feels really good for you. But just allowing yourself to let go of all of those thoughts that come in all the time and just be with your body, and be present with your body. And so you're more connected, and then you're more open to receive. And it's oftentimes when you're on those walks or, in a new place. Like I love traveling so much. It's a huge part of who I am. But when I travel, that's when I get the most inspiration, because I'm open. I'm really open to receive. So sometimes those, ideas and inspiration come in. And not sometimes, I would say most of the time. Yeah. Right? When we're in that place of just like feeling really good, we're not trying too hard.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right with what you said about being in touch with your body. But I would say throughout the day, I'm not always like, was this a yes? Was this a no? Because then that also goes back into that whole inner voice critic thing, which I'm so against, of like being like too obsessed with something.
Yeah.
You know, like if it's a big decision, obviously, then you want to practice like that. And obviously, you know, the more that you're in touch with yourself and meditating, you should be able to, you know, navigate those things. The other thing too is really prioritizing your dream. And I talk about this a lot in my own work. A lot of us have these, again, big visions of things that we want. But then we get caught up in the day-to-day of our to-do list, what has to get done. And, you know, when you check your email, that inbox is everyone else's agenda. It really is. It's not your own. It's their agenda. So if we can prioritize your dream, the big one first, instead of always putting it on the back burner and saying, well, when I have time or when I'm ready, or first I have to just, you know, cook and, you know, get the food on the table, blah, 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 do laundry. But you actually do the one small little action step that can move your biggest dream forward first, then it's actually going to happen because you're focusing on that instead of everything else. And it sounds so simple, but it is huge. Yeah. And it makes such a difference. Like, prioritize the big dream. And it won't feel so overwhelming if you break it down. Like, okay, so I want to write a book, or I keep using that as an example. I don't know what you guys want. Some you can all share, you know, so I can use that as an example. But what's something you want to do? Okay, so today I'm going to research how to write a book proposal. And then tomorrow I'm going to write my bio. And then the next day I'm going to write my intro. And then the next, you know, whatever it is. But you can make small action steps. It could just be like, I'm going to email a friend because I have no fucking clue what to do, but I'm going to email like a friend to ask if she knows what to do, you know, and that could be your action step. But if you're focusing on the big dream, it's going to happen because you're focusing on it. So when you write your to-do list, if you write your to-do list or you have a book, a planner, like, what is the big thing? Flip it. Flip your to-do list so that becomes first.
Ooh, so good.
Everyone else's emails, right? Then do the things that you know you have to do because you're going to do them anyway. You have to do it. They have to get done. Like, you're going to do it. But are you going to do that other thing that's a little bit scary because it's leading to the big dream? Probably not. If you don't have to, if you have a way out, we always give ourselves an out. But if we put it to number one, we flip the to-do list and it's a little scary, but we know it's going to take us to that next place. Do that. Oh my goodness, amazing things will open up. You might freak out for a minute or a day after you send an email, but then you're going to be like, oh my God, I did it, you know, and it's fine. And then you're not attached, which is the other piece we haven't really talked about, but you're not attached to the outcome. And it's part of that expectation piece because you expect that it's all going to work out, but it may not look exactly the way that we think it's going to look. And obviously we talk about that all the time. And like you said, it's a dance, you know? So it's not being attached. Like, so I emailed this person who organizes this conference and asked if I could go for free. And, you know, I don't have the money and I'm freaking out. Oh my goodness. Like, what did I do? I can't believe it. Well, you know what? It's fine that I sent the email because if I don't get into the conference, the best thing, you know, the worst thing that can happen is I'm in the same place that I'm in right now. So I'm not attached. And then the best case scenario is I get to go to that conference. So like, things like that we think about all the time, not being attached, or I want to manifest this partner, and I'm, you know, you write out all the specifics. A lot of people come to me, they want to manifest a soulmate, right? So it's like, all right, write down you know, all the things you love about this one person. If you have this one person in mind, it could be, you know, Jack or whoever it is that you're thinking about. Well, what are the, you know, characteristics that describe that person? Because it may not be Jack. It might be. That would be awesome if it is. But what is Jack like? What, you know, how do I feel when I'm with him? Or, you know, all those things. So it's same thing with a job, right? Not being attached to what it could look like. Because again, with that whole thing of we're intuiting partly what's to come, you're only shown certain things because we can only have the capacity to see certain things. The universe doesn't want us to see everything because you might not be ready for it and you might freak out. Again, like, whoa, that's happening. So you're open to something better because it might not be that. That might be just what you're given so that you're moving in the direction of that. But if you can open up to actually it might be something even bigger and better, and I don't know how the universe is working this. Oh my goodness, right? Again, like, wow, this could be even more amazing than I thought.
And doesn't the universe just love to delight us? I mean, we give it that kind of spaciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Totally.
the same experience. Well, we have just a few minutes left, and I really want to take any questions that might be out there. Would anybody like to unmute and ask a question? You get to be here in presence with Jen. Well, while you think about that, I had our friend Eva on the East Coast had a question, and her question was, what, you kind of touched on this, but we'll address it specifically. What do you do when you're waiting or losing hope? That was her question.
Yeah. Well, okay, here's one thing, which another metaphor. I'm all about metaphors because I think, I'm a visual person.
Me too.
So, think about a garden. We right now, outside our doorstep, I'm in New York City. It's been kind of playing back and forth between winter and not winter. So we have these daffodils outside that are starting to come up, but they're not really ready. But there's like a little bit, like this much. And I know the daffodils are going to come up. Like without a doubt, the daffodils are going to come up, right? And then they're going to blossom. I don't doubt that that's going to happen. Like it's going to happen, right? It's proven. Every year they come up, right? They go back down and then they grow again. So there's this gestation period and it's totally natural. So you might not see the evidence of it right now, but we have to trust and have faith that it is moving forward, even if we can't see it, right? And whenever you doubt it, think about that garden. Think about vegetables. Think about, I was reading, I've never grown potatoes, but we used to have a garden in our backyard at our last house and, grew broccoli and whatever, chard and mint and things like that. But I was reading about potatoes, and maybe some of you have grown potatoes, but just how long it takes. Like you have to wait. You can't pull them until it's ready. They get bigger and even bigger and even bigger. Don't pull it before it's ready because it actually could get even better. And when things are just now, those daffodils in our front yard are just starting to come up. I'm not pulling them out and being like, why are you growing too fast? Fast enough, you ruined it. I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to relax. I might water it. I know they're going to grow. And so I just honestly, that's my best advice is think about the garden. It's going to happen, and there's so many people. Catherine Stockett, who wrote The Help, that turned into a huge movie. Yes. Her book, I think, and I could be wrong with this, was rejected 160 times.
Oh, yes.
I think it was that many. So sometimes the timing is just off. And we just have to keep our faith because if she decided after 150th rejection, I think I'm just not fucking meant to write this book, obviously. She had that belief within herself. People might have thought she was crazy, but she was like, I know that I'm meant to write this book and someone is going to pick it up. And guess what? 160th person picked it up, and then it became a bestseller, and then it became a multi-million-dollar movie, and Oprah picked it up, and blah 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 blah. Same thing with the woman who wrote Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling. Hers was only rejected 12 times, but think about ourselves. How many times have we put ourselves out there 12 times?
Right.
Probably not. Okay. Well, I know it's going to happen, and so I'm not afraid of the rejection because I know I'm always fine. And if we're not afraid of rejection, just like we're not afraid of death because we know it's all love and amazing, amazing feelings, then what are we scared of, right? Yes. It's going to happen. It may not happen with that publisher. It may not happen with this guy. It may not happen with this job, but it's going to happen. And I'm going to keep the faith, and that's all that matters. And I'm going to stay positive while I'm keeping that faith, and I'm going to do things that make me feel good. And I know that there's a gestation period, and I may not see the evidence outwardly, but inwardly I feel an alignment. That's all. Keep writing a gratitude list for it, keep being grateful that it's happening and you're so ready. And it's going to happen.
Oh, I love it. Gratitude for blessings already on their way. That's awesome. So we are at time. Where is the best place for people to find you and to follow you and to be immersed in all of this goodness and see that wand again?
I don't normally have a wand. It's in my office. It's not like I'm
I love it.
I just thought it was a fun prop.
It's perfect.
I'm not sitting around making spells.
Darn, don't dispel the myth.
That's how I've gotten all the success. No. So you guys can find me on queenofmanifestation.com. And you can sign up for my email list there and get my top 10 tools you must have to start manifesting now. I do have some really exciting things in the works that I'm so excited about. I have a book that's coming out next fall, but before that, I've been working on a product with a business partner who approached me. Oh my God, everyone is going to love it, and we're all going to want to use it. And it's something that you do with your girlfriends, and it's so much fun, and it helps with manifesting. And I'm super excited about that. So when that comes out, I'm going to email you, Lindsay, so you can let everyone know.
Please, please. We would love to feature it. That'd be great.
And if I know you're all part of the Mystic Society, but if anyone wants private, help manifesting their business dream, I do private coaching that is a mastermind, a little different. And I'm more than happy to talk to you about it. You can just email me from my website if that interests you. So that's there. And I do Manifestation Masters. I know some of you in this have done it, which is my program. It's going to happen again in the spring. So it's my signature program. That's amazing. So I'd love to see you guys at Manifestation Masters too.
Absolutely. I encourage everyone to go get on that list and go get those tips and to follow Jen's work. It really is a really high vibrational, wonderful place to hang out. So Jen, thank you so much for joining us today. It was really fun.
Yay! Thank you for having me. I love you, and I've loved this conversation. Seriously. It's so much fun.
It's a treat, and I'm sorry about your phone, but we're thankful that you joined us, and I want to thank everyone who joined us as well and those who are listening to the recording, and I wish you all happy manifesting. Yeah. Thanks, Jen. Take care, everyone. Bye. Bye, Lisa. Bye, everybody. Oh, so great. Thank you. Thank you.